The show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Assalamu alaikum. This is American Muslim 360 Radio Broadcast.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
الحمد لله على كل حال. الحمد لله على كل حال. الحمد لله على كل حال. American Muslim 360 is we will never quit. American Muslim 360, your number one Muslim radio station.
Assalamu alaikum. This is American Muslim 360. I'm Thomas Abdul-Salaam, the twin servant of peace. And on behalf of the CEO, Dr. Aisha Kareem, we want to welcome you to American Muslim 360 Jummah Mubarak edition. And inshallah, again, this is Jummah. Today it will be at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Imam Sadiq Jihad will be delivering the khutbah. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure exactly where he will be, but somewhere on the East Coast he will be coming. I think it's Detroit, but I'm not real sure where he's coming out of. But anyway, just know that Imam Sadiq Jihad will be delivering the khutbah today on American Muslim 360, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is 10 a.m. on the West Coast, 11 a.m. in the mountains, 12 in the central, and again 1 p.m. on the East Coast. Come back for Jummah here on American Muslim 360. We also want to remind you and encourage you to attend a Time to Be Grateful Muslim Journal event taking place in Bermuda, December 13th, 14th, and the 15th. Please visit muslimjournal.net for more information and registration. And it is my understanding that you do need a passport to travel to Bermuda. Also want to remind you that in November, inshallah, we'll be starting mediation, Islamic mediation. And inshallah, I will be the trainer. I'm a master mediator. And you can go to AmericanMuslim360.com, click Twin Servant, and all of the information is right there, plus registration. We will begin. It is a 10-session program, and we'll be meeting on Saturdays and Sunday morning, running through the whole month of November, and you will be certified, given a certificate of completion and the ability to then start mediating. And again, it is a mediation panel of 3 individuals. The price includes all 3 registration. 3 people can register for the same price, and inshallah that is mainly the only way we really want to train you at this particular moment. And then as you get more experience in the mediation, then we will be able to move you into let's say master mediator, where you'll be able to mediate on your own and be able to mediate many different topics. We will, not in this class, but in future classes, we'll go over relationship, or could be divorce kind of mediation, civil mediation, and again what we may call community mediation. So again, please join us and visit AmericanMuslim360.com, click Twin Servant for more information. this morning, inshallah, we want to talk as we do, and I say on shorter. Everything is around our ability to, what I would call, govern ourselves, our activities, our community, and begin to build out the life, the active life of the Muslim in America. On Wednesday, inshallah, we talked about guidance. And guidance is you can maybe say, the umbrella, the envelope, so to speak. We're all guided in some way, shape, or form. How that guidance is, what that guidance means to each and every one of us independently is one thing. Then when we come together collectively, guidance can and begins to take on different forms, different meanings, and in some cases, conflict. One of the purposes of guidance is to, let's say, guide you, move you towards what we would call a belief system. What do you believe? Guidance is the vehicle that gets you to what you believe. In Islam, the Arabic terminology for that is Aqeeda. So what is your Aqeeda? What do you believe? Again, I call it a belief system because there are many components, many moving parts, so to speak, to what we believe. Even though we have a spiritual belief, it is not linear. It has many components to belief. Guidance has delivered us, at least what we have called guidance, has delivered us into a certain belief, a certain set of principles, values, the way we think, the way we rationalize. Guidance moves us into this arena. Aqeeda is about belief. Now we want to make some distinctions because a lot of people, they say, well, the Aqeeda, they talk about the schools of thought. Well, there are two sets of schools of thought, and they overlap in some ways. What I mean by two schools of thought, there are two branches, maybe, or two categories. Aqeeda is about the philosophical, the ideological, the theological issues. That which we normally call schools of thought, Hanif, and the other schools of thought, their focus is on fiqh, law, jurisprudence. Their focus on the sunnah of the Prophet. What did the Prophet do? How did he do it? Or what did a Khalifa do in relationship to maybe what the Prophet did? So there are two categories. So we need to understand that we're talking about two different things. So a lot of people want to say, well, the Aqeeda school of thought, and they may include Hanifi or Salafi or whatever the term, the schools of thoughts are. But there's an overlap just because of the nature of Islam. Islam is not a secular theological separation. These things run concurrent with each other. And so there's overlap. So, but my point today is that as we talk about shura, what we're bringing to the table is our guidance to what we believe. Different people believe different things, and let alone we believe the same thing differently. So what I always call the marketplace, when all of this comes together, now we're in the marketplace where everybody's trading ideas or trading philosophies. They're trading their thoughts on various different things and their stories about what they read the prophet did, or what a Khalifa did, or what some scholar did, and so forth and so on. We're trying to navigate. We're trying to piece together what we believe into some kind of coherent, organized fashion that can then move us forward. So shura is more than about decision making, just saying, oh, we're here to make a decision. Yes, but it's more than that. There's more at play than just we're here to make a decision. So when we're talking about Aqeeda, it's like we do in our training. We use the symbol of a tree to get this across, but we don't clearly, I'm not using the Islamic terminology in my classes. Again, we call it a belief system, and really is what it is. It's a belief system. What do you believe? How you believe it? How do you activate it? How do you use it to navigate your life? So, first of all, we want to talk about Aqeeda. The root of it is al-Aqad, al-Aqad, which means to tie something or to secure something with the purpose of, maybe say firmness. I mean, my goal is to really tie this down. I don't want to lose it. As we may say, tie your camel. So when they say tie your camel, they're saying, again, secure it. If it's something that you want, something that you value, then you need to secure it. So Aqeeda comes from the term to secure something, to tie something down. So our beliefs tie us down, or they connect us to something. We believe in something. In other words, when we say La ilaha illallah, when we say we believe in the oneness of Allah, or that there's only one God, that connects us, that ties us, that we embrace this concept, okay? And this concept, La ilaha illallah, it becomes part of our philosophical view that we place great value and importance in. One may say, i'tiqadu meaning I have tied my heart and mind, or heart and soul, to a thing. Again, talking from the same concept of Aqeeda. So we tie our minds, our hearts, our souls, our emotional energy to a thing. This creates a belief. It is the essence of the belief system. So as we move in life, as we develop from the child is just initially what we say is not knowledge-based. And this is why Allah said, when they did not differ until knowledge reached them. See, it is our belief system that separates us, that either brings us together or separates us, or causes conflict, causes curiosity. It is the belief system, and as we say in our training, it is the heart and soul of who you are. So the same concept, I have tied my heart and my mind to a thing. It's the heart and soul of who you are. Aqeeda is going back to the tree concept, Aqeeda is the roots of the tree. And what we mostly call the schools of thought, they're the branches of the tree. Aqeeda is the life source, so to speak, for what we mostly call the schools of thought. They're branches of knowledge. Aqeeda, there are different roots. There are different roots. Again, in our class, clearly we're teaching this very differently, but here I'm able to just sort of, they say, get raw with you. I'm able to be a Muslim in the direction of it. So, what is your Aqeeda? What is it that you have tied your heart and soul and mind to? When we differ, I say differ, but we listen to people speak. We listen to people say, this is the way it should be. This is what I believe, or this is how it got done. All they're trying to tell us, this is my Aqeeda. This is the thing that I have tied myself to. I have hitched my, as they say, I hitch my horse to this buggy. Now, belief doesn't mean that one is more right than the other. It doesn't mean that what that person believes versus what the next person believes is more right. It just means that you have a difference of what we may call an opinion. That's all. Just a difference of opinion. But many people, they present their belief, their Aqeeda, to us as if it was the only Aqeeda. It's the only way to do a thing. It's the only way to believe. You have to do it my way. When we get into these quote, and I'm using school of thoughts now to be the very broad thing, it covers both of these. It covers the roots and the branches. But remember, we have a school of thought with the roots, and we have a school of thought of branches. But they overlap. They're connected by the trunk of the tree. Okay? Maybe as I'm talking, I want to try to see if I can locate my book, my training book, and it may help me a little bit, give you a few things. But anyway, my point right now is that we're today talking about the roots and not the branches. Okay? So what is the roots? What is well, I kind of said it earlier. The roots are about the doctrine, the philosophy, the theology, the things we put our faith in, and even guidance itself, ideology, those things are in the root. The branches, as we've said a little earlier, when we're talking about jurisprudence, we're talking about Sharia, we're talking about economic system, we're talking about marriage, we're talking about divorce, we're talking about the, what do you do when a child is born, what do you do? Those things are branches, but they have Aqeeda in them. They are born out of some kind of Aqeeda that one, again, say has attached himself to, has developed from something, and we're going to talk about some of the sources of this, inshallah, in a minute. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Ramadan. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Juma Mubarak.
Juma Mubarak.
Excellent. Alhamdulillah. I wanted to share something. What you're focusing on is definitely very excellent. But I wanted to share something that gives support to what you're saying.
Yes.
We translate the madhab, we translate that loosely school of thought. As we shared.
Right.
But the word madhab comes from a root word, zahabat. Zahabat. And zahabat means he went away. His root. He went. So madhab is the one who went away. Now, why did they call these great schools of thought? Why is the term madhab? Because whether you're talking about Imam Hanafi or Maliki or Hanbali or Shafi'i, whoever they be, who are the leading scholars within these madhab, in terms of the plural, is what they did, they tried to follow a pattern of what the Prophet did, when they looked at their society and saw things were being implemented in a way that was productive, then they went away from it and tried to get back in touch with the root.
Yes.
You go back down from the branches, you go down the trunk, you get back in touch with the root. In other words, the Prophet went away, and Allah blessed him with insight. He went away from the society. So they did the same thing in what we call the schools of thought, or these branches, by going away and then retracing their steps back to the source, and therefore trying to purify what was happening in their contemporary environment. So it's very, very instructive, even though they call it schools of thought. Their process was to go away from the dysfunction to get back in touch with the root in order to reestablish the branch to be consistent with the root. So I just wanted to share that.
No, alhamdulillah, great thing. Because I guess method is a good way. I couldn't bring that word into my mind because you have these methhabs, and I'm going to now try to keep that word. I'm sorry, let me close your mic. Because let's just say this here. Let me try to get maybe a little historical a little bit, not trying to get too deep. But really, one of the purposes, one of the things that made Omar stand out in history, excuse me, Omar, what happened during the caliphship, let's say, of Omar, what I'm going to call the building out of the Islamic community, the expansion, the greatest expansion of Islam basically took place under the leadership of Omar. And we know our brother Amadou last night was talking about the history of Omar. But in the Method and the Aqeedah, I'm trying to use these two to separate the two. Many of the things we have today really goes back to the time of Omar and not necessarily the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But what I mean by that is this: they're rendering somewhat judgment, thought on what Omar did versus maybe what the Prophet did. the expansion, the different thoughts, the different rulings, the different ways, excuse me, that Omar instituted Islam. And we can definitely use that term. Islam was instituted during the time of Omar. And in this institution building, let's say, and this is where we right now are as a people, we have to build institutions. In this institution building, you begin to get, let's say again, differences of opinion, or again, people begin to say, should have been done this way or that way. Last night, man, Ramadan was on the radio and we were talking. We were talking about a point where when the community comes to a level of, they're used to, first of all, we build a community around the imam, meaning the masjid for the most part. All of us circle around the imam. The imam has a lot of influence on the community, and they're talking and they're giving instructions, and we're all focused on the imam. But eventually the community grows and develops. Now people are talking about, why do we don't have a board? Why do we don't have this? And various other kinds of things. Now you begin to have this differences of opinion between the imam and a group, or maybe the board gets developed. But sometimes a group of people side with the imam. A group of people say, no, we want a board, we want to run things differently. Sometimes these are the things that split a community in half. My point is that as things grow and develop, and as the community grew and developed, you had some of the same kinds of concerns and issues in the community. How do we resolve them? We resolve them by intellectual thought. So then you have this madhabs grow up. You have the Aqeeda. You have philosophy, let's say. For the most part, most of us will call these philosophy. Most of the people, a lot of the people that we may know or call as scholars in Islam historically, most of them probably were philosophers. And, excuse me, and it is their philosophy in which we now are living out Islam on and arguing on Islam about. So shura should be about, and this is what Imam Warid Muhammad was asking us. We have to now develop our own philosophy, not meaning that we reject everything else, but how do we now synthesize what is the philosophy and develop again, let's call it a 21st century approach or 21st century philosophy in relationship to Islam in our lives today. This has been done over centuries, inshallah, of Islam, and really over the world. I mean, there's no body, there's no specific place. We're just talking about it from an Islamic point of view, but it is not exclusive to the Muslims. Everybody has a philosophy. Everybody has an Aqeedah. We just have to figure out what is ours by first of all figuring out what is mine. What is it that I believe? Okay? So we want to progress a little bit further into this conversation. So in this, what do I tie, or what have I tied